Hello, my dear audiences. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Batanli, representing the Italian-style man suit that combines culture, fashion, and the lifestyle. All right. So, Paul, thank you for sponsoring. And back to the show today, we are talking about, like I said, we're touching base with my audience. This is about the Chinese film history. Now, one thing for sure that film is not created, is not the aboriginal of China because it was an import, right? And film itself, even though has more than 100 years of history, though in China, but in China, it is not that much. It was imported about something 100 years ago, black and white, and it is a mute, right? Now to what it is now, we see, of course, excitement is the word, but go back to the point when the house started. China had gone through two periods of times. Number one, when the whole thing of the whole industry is blocked by politics, you have to do politics, nothing else but politics. To a time now we have at the turn, my friend Professor Lin had a big deal, big partake in it, right? So we mentioned about one of his early masterpieces. One of them is the murder case number 405. Prior to that, Professor, did you do anything? Did you act anybody in any other films?
Yes, I do. I did. I went to the 8一电影制片厂. You know, make the movie called
August the one. Yeah.
We are 8th Army.
Yeah, we're the 8th Army.
Yeah, we're the 8th Army. That's his director Wang Ping, very famous director.
Okay.
That film. I was played parts of a culture,
soldier or commander?
No soldier, culture teacher.
A teacher.
A teacher.
Okay.
It's a teacher, but it's an educator. But I am a army. You know, went to the army.
Yeah.
That time.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
You joined the army.
Yeah, I joined the army, and they have his love story. The first one, love story, but we do not have a love scenes. Are we kissing? No.
No.
We did something, but it's
okay.
the very first time. After Cultural
And just
Revolution.
a girl and a boy come together, they shake hands.
And this movie is still right now still keeping for Chinese army. They right now military for educate for them for how to you know through the hard time. You know that time in the Chinese the history that time is hardship. You know, very extremely hardship. That time is very
during the war.
During the war.
During the war. Okay.
So very good movie. That's is my first one. I said in my virgin.
And after or before the 405, you had another one about earthquakes, right?
Oh yeah.
Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah. What was that, please?
蓝光闪过之后 flash
after
light.
the blue flash.
Yeah, after blue flash.
Okay.
And I have another one is called 开枪为他送行.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Let's fire.
Yeah. I made more than 12 you know, movies.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
And some little television films.
I see.
I win, you know, our group win 飞天奖. How do you say the flying?
Yeah. Okay. The flying fair.
Yes,
right.
that we went that
the
award.
God,
Yeah. So that.
Flying
like,
fairy god.
Yeah. Same as like a U.S. Army is kind
I see.
award.
I see. All right.
So and after I.
You yourself quite a monument.
Right.
You yourself quite a monument.
And after that, I want to become
I have done none.
Yeah, I want to become a filmmaker.
Okay.
I want to become a producer, you know, cameraman, and I do everything, you know.
I
want to do it. So I
went
come to United States.
I see.
So take
All
education
right. From
here.
then on, we're starting a new page, but I would like to hang on a little bit with you about your comment. You know, having been involved in the early stage of Chinese modern nowadays films, to where you are now teaching in the schools, being an educator, as a professor, what have you seen as the path that the China film have gone through? Please.
You know, before it's really political, you know, the kind of things very much, too much. Right now, much better. Even for this moment, I saw the several movies, watched that movies. You know, I don't believe it. Nothing, anything related to the, I don't believe it. If you watch the movie, you think this is from China? You know, where did it come from, this kind of movie? You know?
I see.
Impossible.
It catches the audience as a surprise.
Yeah, surprise. You know, I am surprised a lot for everything. You know, a long time ago, maybe not allowed.
What do you see? You see freedom? You see them.
Some love stories. Some love stories
love stories.
Yeah, they reflected right now real life.
Emancipation of human mind or something.
Oh yes, and right now it's like this. You know, they are reflected Chinese real life now. For example, somebody's.
Let's focus on one by one. Let's focus on the block of love stories, right?
Yes.
I recall that about 40 years ago, the first film I saw that involves a man hugging a woman.
Yes.
Was a Russian film called Vladimir Lenin in 1918.
Yes.
You remember that?
华西里, yeah. 面包会有的.
That was the moment, right?
Yeah, right.
We should have bread, right? We should have milk.
Yeah, we will.
Right?
We will.
At that moment, he kind of hugs his husband, his wife.
Yeah.
That is the moment, the only moment.
Yeah.
I believe, at least to my life, I see on films a man hugging a woman.
Yeah.
So take that as a landmark to what you see now. At least I want to say the human mind in China, in the terms of filmmaking, are emancipated. Am I right?
Yes. See, last night I saw the movie. I saw the old actor is Li Ming. They're performing on one movie called, Peacock something. You know, some whatever the movie they made it. Okay. They made it in Chengdu. Inside have definitely kiss, right? To make somebody pregnant, and to making love. Making love that didn't see the,
you mean the
100% naked.
The bed encounter. Put it that way. Bed encounter.
But that kind of
encounters.
I think I tell you that kind of detail. Maybe somebody do not know it, but I catch it. When they are making love, the small, gentle movement.
You mean
you can see that they are making love that moment.
Okay, now that is exactly the other point, the other area I want to point out, the other tendencies I would like to point out. Even though I do love to love, right? Even though I love to see something more vivid, something more profound, I would say there is always a distinction between regular films and rated films, right? So you really want to go to the, to try to not touch the line, right? How do you compare what you saw last night with the, what is it, that Lust and Love, or?
Yeah,
what is
I believe, I like this way. The director, they make this one. I like this one. Because you don't want to show the naked, total naked. You want to see something, you know that, it is right now what they're doing. And later have a baby.
I mean the one director Leon made. Lust and what was that? Anyway, so how do you compare the two? Did it go past that, or not?
I think more artist work. Definitely artistic work. Because you you don't want it. Means this kind of made your thinking.
All right.
You look at things, you already got that effect. You got it. So you see some things.
All right.
Better than something, to hear some Western movie. They're 100% naked, whatever, you can see everything, too much. But that is much nicer.
Of course.
This artwork.
Nudity is not that what I go against.
You're right.
I'm only against those kind of a poor productions when they put nudity as an eye catcher for all audiences.
You're right.
Because you want to do your story. You don't want to do nudity as the core value, right? I give you an example. There is a film about the Vietnam War that I watched, and it depicts the nudity. However, it did it to the most extent. I give 2 thumbs up for that. It was a story about a bunch of American young soldiers. Okay, they are kind of fond of a local girl. So there was one moment, Vietnam girl. There was one moment under the moonlight when the girl jumped into water, taking a bath or something. Of course, totally naked. When she walks out of the water, those soldiers were kind of like their eyes are gazed on her, and she walks step by step and bend down, right? Pick up a rifle, started shooting, kill them all, right? That using that the nudity, and that represents beauty versus the action of killing, right? So that tells the story.
Very powerful.
Very powerful, right?
Powerful.
That tells you what is humanity, what is love, and the love, beauty, love is totally against war, and war vice versa, right? That kind of nudity I like.
I agree with you.
Other than that, even to Director Leon about his masterpieces of bad encounters of those. Well, anyway, I do not like. I hate to say more in commenting of those masterpieces that have been already confirmed. Okay, my dear audience, with me today is my good friend, a wonderful guest, a wonderful filmmaker and actor himself, and Professor Li Zaiyang, Winston Lei. So let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll pick up from where we are now to see what are the positive points about Chinese films, what are the negative or weak points, and I want to compare with the American films. Let's find out how we want to proceed. Okay, stay with us, please. Hello, my dear audience, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the East-West Show. I'm hosting with the East-West with lots of proud. Yes, East-West Show is sponsored by Paul Battaglia. Paul Battaglia is a world-renowned Italian style, men's-style suit, and that represents class, culture, and lifestyle. I'm so privileged to be wearing one of them. A beautiful jacket. Thank you very much, Paul, for sponsoring. Back to the show. Talking about films, I have my friend, Professor Winston Lei, joining me, because he's the one that has the right say. He's the one, is right to put it this way. He witnessed the darkness of the Chinese film, right? When there was nothing but politics. And he himself made himself the monument of the Chinese film like a big jump. Right? And then from that point on, people in China, filmmakers in China, dare to talk about love, talk about the other beautiful side of life, so on and so forth. Okay, from that moment on, Professor, till what you see now, films, shown, being screened for the month of Chinese American Film Festival. Oh, by the way, County of Los Angeles had named the whole month of November the Chinese American Film Festival month. What a victory. And in the city of Los Angeles made a resolution that Mayor Garcetti had signed, making the 2nd of November the day of Chinese American Film Festival. Another ice-breaking, right? So during the month of Chinese American Film Festival, which is the month of Chinese Film Festival, lots of films are being shown. We owe our appreciation to Mr. James Su, founder and CEO of the Chinese American Film Festival. Okay, among all the films that you have seen so far, compared to you started your career from that point on, all the way down, and you see what are the better part of Chinese films as versus American films.
Better things is right now less and or no political things. That's most important things.
No.
Yeah.
American film don't have politics too.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have it
So
either.
that's, yes, I know. The difference is the Chinese movie before they always have something there. So right now less and the less and the less. It's just a human, whatever happened, the real things happen. So this kind. So big different things. I think sometimes I say the rhythm, you know, the movie.
The rhythm, yes.
Rhythm, you know, sometimes Chinese movie pretty slow.
All right.
Most slow people cannot.
Sluggish.
Yeah. But American movies, excitement always, you know, you know, and sometimes one story have several things, you know, backwards, you know, something do this, and you follow that, you can see the, you know, the movies. The Chinese simple, like just one started until very good story like this. But right now different. Right now have a different things, you know, you can back think something, you know. That's big different. And technique, the technique, the things, you know, before is China is still not good enough for that. We need to use that more.
All right.
More and more.
You mean technology?
Technology. More and more. You know, so I was doing this right now. Some prepare things for training program for Chinese filmmakers. Yes, use a new technology, you know, to do this help in China. So they need that too. But of course, this 3D movie, they already have some high technology things to use it. They use that things. A lot of things are already more than here even. Here didn't use it in the United States, but the Chinese already have it. But they still need, you know, more. But Chinese right now, everybody can make movie. I just feel that way. You don't know anybody there. A lot of actors, a lot of. But we need to really, how do you say that? Make a little bit. One is the popular everything, and I don't have to be, you know, make the high tech, something like that.
Make it outstanding. Okay.
Yes.
Back to the areas. You seem to have mentioned about two areas.
Yeah.
Number one, about the film skills, storytelling skills, right?
Yes.
And number two, you're talking about film technology.
Yes.
Right? And there is always a third one, which is about the film themes, right? Even though I go 100% against the politics or against the fact you put politics into a film, I still promote films that have the positive thinking. I hate negativities in films. I hate negative films, right? So, and let's talk one by one, all the three areas. Like about the way of storytelling, though. Back to school, I learned that the American films are kind of like they go the tripod way. The tripod way means that you use first 10 minutes to lay down your card about the film, the environment, and in which area this story is going to start. And they use then the next 90 minutes to spread the story, to tell the story. And you use the last 20 minutes to to do the ending, right? So there's 1, 2, 3 steps. Do you think the Chinese are doing it a different way rather than the 1, 2, 3 on the format?
They're started different way.
Uh-huh.
But most still, you can see the 1, 2, 3. Still, seems like a tradition kind of things. But somebody already changed it, make it more interesting. Yeah. So made Chinese the way to thinking different than before. They can handle more things at the same times. But sometimes it's not. They're only just 1, 2, 3. So you can see, oh, I see, some. Oh, I understood that. Oh, I do not understand what's going on there.
I see.
Yeah, but right now, I think Chinese, their thoughts, their mind is different than before.
Does that mean that the Chinese makers are kind of absorbing
yes.
What is positive in the American system?
You're right. I agree.
Am I right?
Yes.
And yet, in the meantime, they try to keep their own tradition of telling stories in Chinese ways.
Yes. The Chinese way, I think most people still like that way. You can see the, stories, smooth, everything. And later you learned, oh, I see, very touch, very move, whatever. It's not the kind of too complicated.
I see.
Simple, easy. Later, very touch. Oh yes, like that. But day by day, they want to. People, even young generations, they're really youth. They like that kind of excitement, different.
This reminds me a conversation between me and my son. And when he was about 5 years old or something, he's kind of a guy that dares to think of anything, right?
Yeah.
And the other day we were talking about writing scripts, right? I said, okay, here's a story. On the playground in the school, some kid get killed, right? And how do you want to start a story, right? And he says that, well, if I were going to write this script, I would let the kid, well, some other kids, well, whoever, eating an ice cream bar, and by some reason, whatever, he or she dropped the ice cream bar into the grass, and bending over to see the ice bar, and this person sees a knife, something like that, to start a film. Oh, good way, right? Good way. Of course, I know the way he thinks about, but this is really in film terms, you want to do the reverse, right? Okay, so it's a good way to start films, and also there are other ways to start film, not always this way, right? Okay, do you think the Chinese are more following the Chinese traditional way, or they are trying to do more that taste like Americans?
They started
to
taste like Americans. They started that.
I see.
Yeah, but somebody still continue to use their traditional way. They have to. The most audience is Chinese have a lot of peoples. They still got used to for that kind of.
It is tradition anyway. When Chinese, especially when an older man telling a story, they say, long time ago there was this mountain, mountain of course, we know, right? And on it there is this temple, and in the temple there is a monk. And the monk, the story is starting with the monk.
The monk talking about a temple, temple inside of it with something,
They kind of in a security way. Anyway, today with me sharing the wonderful moment is my good friend, Professor Lee. He teaches at a private school, and a huge school. I went to school myself. It is, I would say, first-class schools. Not only the teachers had to be wonderful, the students have to be wonderful too. Right. And we call the only schools only for the rich.
It's not necessary. We have a scholarship.
It's okay, I know. All right. Okay, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue by putting the Chinese films as industry and the American films as industry together on this table. Do we find a way how these two parties can shake hands or can collaborate, do a better job, let people forget Chinese films or American films? Films are films. How about that? All right.
Great.
So We'll be right back. Hello, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Bottanley. Here, right there, for sponsoring the show with their nanotechnology and with their style, Italian style that represents lifestyle, fashion, and culture. So, back to the show. With Mr. Li Zaiyang, Professor Lei, we're talking about films because we're in the heat of the Chinese American Film Festival. As we speak, films are being shown to the tens of thousands of people all over Southern California, thanks to James Su, founder and CEO of CEO. Thanks to County of Los Angeles that made November the month of Chinese American Film Festival. Thanks to Council Chamber of Los Angeles City that made the day November 2nd the day of Chinese American Film Festival, which is now everybody in Southern California. If you would have the time, please be invited to some of those the theaters to take a look. Okay, now. Back to the discussion. In the discussion, we lay down from step number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're at the 4. At 4, we're talking about if we put Chinese films as the industry as one, and we put American films as the industry as two, how do you see the two can join hands, can put up a collaboration for joint efforts, like they call co-production, whatever, to make films. No longer identify them as Chinese films or American film. Films are just film, like that. How do you see? Is that a possibility, and how?
Yes.
Please.
I think I want to mention about James Su. You know, he did a great job.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he did a great job. And I watched that very closely because I'm a old filmmakers, movie actor.
You're veteran. You're veteran in this area.
Yes, you're right.
You know.
I really watched them very closely. He built up a bridge, and this bridge is tighter. Stronger and stronger and stronger. My goal is like that. I come here to study or learning how to make films. I want to be, build up a bridge too. That time I said my goal is like that, and make.
You thought about doing that too.
Yes, and I want to introduce the Chinese real American, and I want to introduce Chinese, introduce Americans real Chinese. There's a real one, because right now or a long time ago, like American look at the Chinese maybe the backwards or dirty face something. The Chinese look at Americans, same thing, something wrong.
Right.
So I wanted my student become an ambassador, going to China, to do something, make a future,
forget the prejudice.
Yes.
And just put together their efforts to make films, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chinese. Let's analyze side by side. American films, let's say Hollywood films, right? They have the strongest, the most developed, the highest technology. That is unchallenged.
Yes.
That nobody can come even near. Right? Yet, films are about stories, right? Do you know on the planet Earth who has stories, right? Who lives longer has more stories, right? The longest lived had the most stories.
Yes.
And the films are about stories about people. By following that philosophy, you're talking about history. The longer the story, the better the films, right? Okay. Now, in China, they do have the longest history for 5,000 years. 5,000 years could include all kinds of stories, right? And the resources of stories are there. Yet, they have a huge lack of technology. What if someday we put a technology to switch or to combine with the Chinese stories, or at least the concept of Chinese stories? So do you think that's a way of approach?
Yes, I think James Su did a great job. Like I said, right now we can, definitely join together. Because you say that the China is 5,000 years.
5,000 years. Yeah.
A lot of things, stories, a lot of things.
Plus or minus BC.
Oh yes,
and
NBA, a lot of. But if you combine together, we use the best things both each other. They're really great, really great.
Right. And also, there's another aspect I'm thinking about. Of course, my audience do know as a fact that in China there are lots of rich people now, right? And some are rich to the extent that goes beyond imagination. I'm not talking about the corrupted officials. I'm talking about those people, those guys who earned the money in a legitimate way, right? And they are rich, right? So with and the second aspect would be, in addition to this kind of collaboration that we're talking about, I'm talking about money, right? Okay.
Yes.
Now, with that kind of money that burns holes in the pocket, though, we'd better recommend them move the money to the United States, to our backyard here, and adopt the technology and adopt the story or story making together. Do you think that's a financial approach?
I think that's a great idea. And they already started doing that things too, already. China, a lot of capital, some of the rich men, they're really interested too.
They're rich.
I think China's
they're
more
extremely
money.
rich.
They have more.
Okay.
They want to do these things. By the way, I visited China, southern China, the movie industry, and north too. Both, they have a lot of financial, that's strong, very strong. They want to spend that money. They make the best, but they ask me, said, can we helping, get some highly technology, move to China? We're trying to do them.
Okay.
They want to spend money, definitely. And I think this is the way.
And also by education, all right? With the money that Chinese people have. Oh, by the way, I'll give you an example how rich Chinese people are, Chinese businessmen are. And there's one time I was invited to dinner. At dinner, I met with a big guy from China. And during the conversation, I asked him, I said, Mr. Wang, what is your purpose of this visit? He said, kind of in a very careless way, kind of like, oh yeah, I just see if I look around for some little birds that fly. Some little birds that fly. Okay, that was conversation. A week later, he left, right? And I asked my friend who invited me to the dinner, said, what did he end up doing? He said he bought 4 Boeings. He bought 4 Boeings, little birds that fly. Right? That's how rich they are. Okay, with that kind of money to buy little birds that fly, though, they can also do a school or schools.
Yes.
Film schools.
Yes.
Do you think so?
I do think so.
As
That's my job too. I'm an educator.
Yeah, as an educator, you might like this proposal.
I work for just I was a graduate from Brooks Institute, and later I retired from the private school, the K school, and my school called me back, right away. They wanted me to do some, international development,
I see.
Do some training or make some school too.
I see.
So future get training filmmakers, photographers, whatever.
And if you put up schools, I really wish my audiences who are related to those rich Chinese guys to let them see this. We invite them to come over because with a school though, you never worry about students.
Yes.
You have almost endless resources of students come over here. Right? endless. All those boys and girls after high school, you can put them in this school learning films.
I agree with you. I wish they will have some of the school here open, and I can join that. I do my my best parts to helping them, and because my field is motion pictures, films.
And I give you a good story.
Yeah.
The other day we were doing a banquet. That's the Chinese American Film Festival banquet. We had all the local officials attended, the mayors, the council members, right? Mayor and council member of West Covina made a speech saying that, okay, if you want to decide to do business in the United States, please come to my beautiful city.
Yes, I heard about that.
Followed by the city of Pasadena says, well, I think that you probably want to come to my city.
Yes.
And then there goes El Monte. Oh, no. El Monte is a better place. And there goes Monterey Park. That goes San Gabriel. That goes Rosemead. On and on and on and on. Local politicians, even politicians, are in favor of this approach, because you really combine people's wisdom, money, and efforts together in the industry we call film. Right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And better part is that we have an educator here who's been here. How many years you have been teaching?
More than 30 years.
More than 30 years.
Long time, yeah.
When was the time I saw you at K School?
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Long time.
25 years ago.
Something like that, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, long time.
That's how you go.
Okay, my dear friends, I don't want to go over time again. I'm being criticized by my editor these days, saying that I'm dragging it too long. I want to do it in the right length. So anyway, to make a long story short, I have a good time with my good friend, Professor Lei, who is ambitious, even after 30 years of teaching of the film area, trying to still promote the concept of joint production, joint education, and joint efforts and joint money to make films. No longer Chinese film, no longer American film. Films are films. Thank you very much, my dear audiences. Thank you for watching. And to Professor, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Battenley, that represent the Italian-style man suits, such as the one I'm wearing, using nanotechnology. Nanotech technology, to be full on the term, that makes the fabric waterproof, I believe. If you spill coffee or water on it, it rolls away, right? Okay, thank you, Paul, for sponsoring. Back to the show. Today with me, I'm especially honored to be joined by a good friend, a long time friend, who is a is an actor, filmmaker, and educator, Mr. Li Zaiyang, Winston Lee, Professor Lee. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you.
All right, good. And I'm so glad that you are so involved with the Chinese American Film Festival, which, as we speak, we're only in the first 10 days of November, and the month is still young. The films are still being shown everywhere. And I'm so glad that you are involved this much. Thank you. So, what have you so far watched, please, as films?
When I got a chance, I do as much as I can. I just see the movies. I already saw the several movies. Very interesting, very impressive. That's my first, I feel very, very good, because even actor, actress, director, and even have a 3D, some movies too. So very impressive.
All right,
to me, yeah.
Sure. To Professor Lei, I owe my audience a introduction. By that introduction, I really want to get serious because I know him for his first film. That is known so much to Chinese audiences. I believe everybody saw it because that was exactly at the time when revolution ended, the Chinese Cultural Revolution ended, in which everybody fell into this black hole of the quote-unquote revolution, and that was the film. What was that film, please?
The name called 405 murder case. 405 murder case.
Yeah.
It's 100 million audience. The first movie in China.
After
we have
revolution.
We have a 100 million audience. So that's incredible. The first movie like that, and it's black and white with a single color, which means black and white.
Yeah, single color.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting movie, and it's right now it's part of Chinese film history.
I look at that film because I saw that film when back then I was in China. I'm here for 32nd year this year,
same as
and quite
same
before.
As me.
Yeah, all
yes,
right, good. Coincidentally,
years,
right? Quite before, several years before that, I saw that film, and that was such a film that I remember even today, and I believe that you did a good job. Excellent job in that film.
And I have a nomination, for the 1,000 Flowers, the best support actor for that one too.
Okay, supporting actor.
Yeah, supporting actor. Yeah.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that movie very much so. The whole story is to want to find the murderer. Who's the murderer? And they have 36 names called Ling Fu Gen. And anyway, finally, they found me. It's me. The murderer is me.
And so you're the murderer.
Yeah. Yes, I have it. That time.
I caught you.
Yeah. And they have a fighting, just kung fu things, right? Fighting and whatever, so very interesting. And I was work with a very famous, the movie actor, his name is Zhong Xinhuo. Zhong Xinhuo.
Yeah. Okay.
He already passed away right now. It's a very famous one. Yeah. Very nice man. So we practice, the kung fu, fighting, do something a lot of. Learn a lot from him too.
I see.
Yeah, that's my.
Who was the director of that film?
G&E he is very young one. He never really like some famous, but he's really study hard. Want to make something different. Definitely, he has a goal.
Yeah, here I say 30-something years or even 40-something years after, I still want to give the film huge credit.
Yes.
People, my audience is, if you do not understand China, you do not understand China films, right?
Yeah, right.
You got to do your lesson number 1 to understand your lesson number 2. Because these films we're seeing now, was a development or its growth from what we're talking about, right? Back in the Cultural Revolution, probably you want let my audience know, because most of them speak English, right? Okay.
Yeah, right.
So you want to tell them, you want to let them know, during the revolution, what kind of films did they have in China?
That's I think it's very awful. Sometimes just very political. everything, just
100% political.
Yeah, 100%.
I would say not very.
That's but people still have to see it. Sometimes they make a group.
It's a mandate.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
You got to see it.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
And I recall back then we have only 8 of them, and they are the Beijing opera films.
You're right.
Well, you got to see it as a political mandate. The government made the rules. You got to see it. And other than that, there is no film at all. All right, no love stories. No ancient stories, no drama, okay, no modern films, and no whatever. And yours was the murder case number 4 or 5 was a suspicion film, right?
You're right.
With lots of suspicions hang on. It was almost until to the end. Well, it was not until did the audience know who was the murderer, right?
Yes.
What is it? Yeah. And that was to my eye, that was an icebreaker at that time, and that is the start of Chinese film into the new time, new period of time, new era, right? So you just mentioned about 100 million audiences. Watch the film. So how do we know that number? And back then, do we have statistics of their box office revenue?
Yeah, but I don't know how they count that, but it is through the movie theater. People watch that outside the theater a lot. Like farmers, workers, army, militaries. They can watch the movie by themselves sometimes in the field, just put the screen there, everyone going to see it. So you don't know exactly the numbers, but through the theaters, from the box, some offices, they found out how many people. I walk on the street, people can call my name is the name of the guy's name is called Lin. It's Lin Fugen. They can call me Lin Fugen, on the street. It's very popular. Even now my student, their parents even from China, they remember me. I walk on the street.
Professor Lin Fugen.
Yeah, right. I walk on the street.
Professor Lin Fugen.
Take a bus, and even I went to China some conference. The elevators, the doors open. People saw me. They said,
"Oh, Mr.
I know you."
Yeah, I know you.
I said, "Yes, you know me, but I don't know you." I said, "That's for sure."
Okay, very good.
So this very interesting. And I took my student, went to the store, department stores, buy some shirt, buy something. A lot of the people service there, they saw me. They said, "We know you."
They recognize you.
Yeah, recognize me. Because long time ago, already long time ago, they still recognize me. So I went to some. One thing's interesting, United States invited the Chinese government invited 800 American educators visit China. So me was one of them too. So we went someplace. The photographer take pictures. When they saw the picture, said, "Yes, who you are? We know you."
That's
interesting. That's interesting.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
And I would say that number one, it is because of the fact that his acting in the film was excellent. Number two, I would give the credit to the time. The time is that from a environment that everything was politics, all of a sudden you see something not politics, not political. It is an eye catcher, right? It is an eye catcher. Suddenly, all the tensions were drawn. Okay. And by the way, in that film, was there any element or thing for politics?
But I believe it's still because the movie, the stories, that's kind of for 4 gang members. 4 gang, the Mao's wife, the gang of the force. That's interesting because the murder is they did, belong to them. They sent the murders to murder somebody.
Kind of like a hitman.
Yes, yes.
Is hired a hitman.
Yeah.
And you played a hired hitman.
Yes, yes.
All right. Anyway, it is politics, but not in the extent, not in a way like it used to be, right?
Yes.
My dear audience, today is one of the very wonderful moments that I got to touch a part about history. And that is the part of history that I was involved. Not involved in the history making, I at least witnessed, right? I witnessed a period of time in China, all theaters you go, of course, limited theaters you go, there's no film of no politics. It was not until his film, that is the murder case number 405, did people see anything that not politically related. So he, my friend, Professor Li Zaiyang, Professor Winston Li, is my guest today, talking about that history. Of course, we shall move on from that point to touch base with you about the growth of Chinese film when we come back. Let's take a very short moment out, please.